The funny thing about mind-bending examples in AI right now is it's a bit like that Tintin comic where the captain says, "God, what a week," and Tintin says, "Captain, it's Wednesday." We are mid-swing on some major developments and major, the first kind of mainstream adoption of an AI tool with ChatGPT. The most mind-bending example I've kind of enjoyed recently is out of DeepMind, which is a subsidiary of Google. And the problem they're trying to solve is to connect simulations to what colloquially we call meat-space reality, and see if you could train kind of robots to play soccer in a computer, whether you could transfer that knowledge to the real world. Why does this matter? Because if we can build out sophisticated behaviors by training systems to do complex tasks inside of a computer, if you could translate that to the real world, it opens up all sorts of opportunities for robotics and for using AI in more kind of tangible ways as opposed to just in software and things like that. That's been the most mind-bending example I've seen, is the thought that we would have robots be able to shake your hand and things like that. So I'm thrilled to be down in New Zealand and to be talking to people about AI and the ethics of AI, partly because I get to understand the sort of uses they see for AI. And AI in agriculture is particularly exciting as a horizon, because we're still figuring through what Jack Clark calls the capability overhang, these set of techniques or the ways of using AI that aren't obvious to us yet. Like, we've got a tool and we're still figuring out what it can be used for. But one example that caught my eye is the notion of laser weeding. And what the hell does that mean? So the idea is that currently in large-scale agriculture, you need lots of herbicides and to kill weeds and to make crops efficient. The trouble is that those herbicides feed into what you and I eat and cause all these derivative kind of negative effects in the environment. And so the idea behind laser weeding is if we can use precision laser, it sounds like science fiction, but it's not. If you can drive an autonomous vehicle over the crop and shoot lasers into these budding lettuce leaves or something and kill the individual weeds, then you don't need to use herbicides. So this sounds crazy, but these kind of robotic, weed killers can kill like 200,000 weeds in an hour. So that will, I assume, cause a kind of shift, hopefully, with the use of herbicides. And I think New Zealand, given how important this country takes the environment or environmental concerns, I think it's an exciting prospect. The combination of targeted weeding and also predictive analytics, like knowing if anticipating if a vehicle is going to break down. A tractor or something like that. Maybe the last thing I'll say is to get a sense of how quickly these tools are being positioned as the new frontier in agriculture. You look at a company like John Deere, which is increasingly treating itself as a data science company. Traditionally they've made, large-scale vehicles, and now they've put so many sensors into their machinery that they're thinking about themselves as like an analytics company. For what it's worth, I don't think that AI will replace farmers. I think there's something about relationship to the land that Kiwis know well. But I think we'll start to see uses like laser weeding that hopefully will kind of allow us to steer off some of the practices that are harmful to the environment. So it's not a panacea, it's not a silver bullet, but it will have some really effective uses, I hope. Generative AI, and that includes generative text, generative audio, generative video, is already having quite a disruptive effect on creative industries. The negative side is that it's been called by Naomi Klein and others the greatest art heist in history. Because what do? What do these tech companies do? They feed in to a model training data, which is all these artistic works that allow anybody, you or I, to go on and type in what we want, and then it will generate something in the style of anime, a certain type of anime, let's say. Harry Potter in the style of this anime artist. The trouble is that if artists are already struggling around the world, and if they're cut off from the kind of rewards of their work, that can be quite negative. And it doesn't mean that, I think it's kind of a double-edged sword. I think the sooner we can figure out the kind of copyright questions around this tool, which is brand new, we are mid-swing again with these tools, the sooner we can start to direct the benefits from these systems. Now, there's also a lot of work, creative work being done with these tools that is seemingly novel. The Avengers on Hell's Kitchen, or on, what is that show? MasterChef. That you can create these kind of fusions that are totally unique because AI makes it easier to generate different types of art. But I'll say this, the aspect of the future of generative AI and art that interests me most is about being. Because even if art changes, we still remain human. And what it means to be human is not something that a machine can really say so much about. And so I think I'm kind of awaiting some landmark work that kind of draws our attention or really helps to articulate what it means to be alive in this moment. Maybe that'll be with generative AI, maybe it won't, I don't know. But yeah, I hate to be a downer, but that's a thorny subject right now. I think the next sectors we'll see major AI partnerships are construction, agriculture, and logistics. Areas within which precision really matters. It can make a difference. So to give you an example, a company that's using AI to take air out of cardboard boxes. What does that mean? Well, if you've ever ordered something online, you'll know that often the package that arrives for you may be twice the size of what's inside, which is really wasteful, right? And so they've built a system that automatically cuts a box and fabricates a cardboard box just for the parameters of the thing that you've ordered. And in aggregate, that can save or prevent a lot of waste. Those three sectors, I think, are kind of teed up to start institutionalizing these tools. Of course, it's going to impact education. Of course, it's going to impact the arts, but and many other sectors, finance, seemingly everything. But I think because of the kind of societal ramifications and the questions about ownership and things, those industries will have more pushback. And we see it right today that the Writers Guild of America are on strike, and part of what they're fighting back on is AI. So I think logistics, construction, and agriculture are three kind of major areas that people will start to adopt these tools in. So there are going to be a few novel uses of AI in the construction sector. One I've come across recently, which is not pure AI, but in which AI can be useful, is kind of reconnaissance using drones. So if you wanted to surveil, the top of a chimney that's 30 years old, let's say, and this could be an industrial site or a residential site, getting a human there could be dangerous, expensive, laborious. If you can fly a drone up and it can identify using pattern recognition AI, machine learning tools, then it can start to identify, we've got some rot or some kind of degradation happening in this area that will need to be addressed. And so in the realm of kind of predictive maintenance, I think these tools will be quite useful. So large language models have been called a calculator for words, which is a kind of mind-bending metaphor. And where it fails, I think, to capture what is afoot is that the use of a calculator doesn't change numbers. Large language models, the more we adopt them, the more we'll see changes to the way that we kind of weight authority of different authors and an understanding of the world around us. That's one of the major kind of challenges with AI right now, is the risk not just of kind of disinformation and misinformation and kind of polluting the information channels with industrial scale gobbledygook, or just information that has that has questionable authority, but also just in the same way that social media changed how we communicate with and texting, changed the introduction of emojis. I mean, how much do you rely on emojis to say things that you want to say to the people that you care about? Large language models are making it easier to kind of skin one's ideas in different kind of styles. So you can have the same idea written out the way Jay-Z would put it, or Leonard Cohen would put it, or HR would put it. Like you can, at the press of a button, dress an idea algorithmically in a style of articulation that would otherwise have taken a lot of work to kind of get right. Like it's really good at that. Looking globally, one of the major changes that large language models will bring about is that for non-English speakers to participate in the global economy, much of which is in English, this will allow them a bit of agency that they might not have had before, because proofreading and just getting that extra little bit of effort to be taken seriously for their ideas, but maybe language is a slight barrier. That barrier is reduced with large language models for now. Because of course, these products are free now, they may not be free in the future.